Now, as you guys must have seen, there's been reports that Gervonta Tank Davis is going to retire. Now, there was one tweet from this boxing insider per se guy called Rick Glacier. Now, I follow Rick Glacier on Twitter and I see all his posts. And a lot of the times he gets things quite right, but then there are some times where he gets things totally wrong. And he said, according to many reliable sources, Tank's gonna retire and he's gonna hang up the glove. I'm thinking to myself, when I see things like that, according to many reliable sources, I'm thinking, who's coming out of Tank's people, Tank's camp, to come to Rick Glacier to say to Rick Glacier, do you know what, Tank's gonna retire, you know? Who does that? So I'm like, nah, man, I'm skeptical of that news. And I was like, nah, man, we're not really buy into that type of gossip news. But mainstream media grabbed it and ran with it and was like, yeah, Tank's about to retire. Gervonta Tank Davis is retiring. According to reliable boxing insider Rick Glacier, Tank's about to retire and so forth and so forth. Then today I go on to World Boxing News. They've got a website. World Boxing News is a decent website, decent periodical that I like to read day in, day out about boxing stuff. And they've just made a report saying Tank is not retiring. Their sources say that Tank's not retiring and he's going to go to 140 and he's going to stay at 140, and Manny Pacquiao wants to fight him, and if Manny Pacquiao doesn't get a positive response from Tank, then he's going to carry on with the Mario Barrios rematch and all of this type of stuff. And I'm just like, yo, boxing is a joke right now, bro. It's getting back to that boxing's getting on my nerves type time again. I told you guys about how boxing is getting on my nerves, but I didn't really get to elaborate onto why boxing's getting on my nerves. Because Turkey El Sheikh came in and started throwing buku loads of money at boxing, and for that first year or so, it just flowed with it. Boxing was rising, fights that you didn't ever think was going to get made got made, and then he started to try and work with the PBC boxers, including Tank. And when he tried to work with Tank, Tank said, in order to even have an audience with me, firstly you have to send me 2 Lamborghinis. Then I just said, yeah, this is what I'm talking about this boxing getting on my nerve stuff. So anyway, Tank is not going to retire, apparently. He's just delaying his return. He's assessing his options, per se. He's delaying his return. He's apparently going to move up to 140. I don't know how much this is true either. I just don't know. I can't say that I'm buying into that either, because at the end of the day, this is just rumors. Tank hasn't come out and said all of this. His trainers haven't come out and said all of this. Nobody from Tank's direct entourage has come to say any of these things. This is just things that people, reporters, are just reporting from reliable sources, per se. This sources and reliable sources thing gets on my nerves. Because why am I personally, if I'm a person that's in the public eye and I'm doing things that the public don't necessarily need to know about, and I've got people in my circle that are going to come into my group, listen to what's going on, and then go and tell reporters what's going on, I don't get it. I don't see it. Obviously, reporters might pay people for information, but really and truly, man, I don't buy into this type of information. So it's about watching this space. But what is very clear is that Tank is not going to fight Lamont Roach very soon. He's not. Lamont Roach needs to move on. Forget about Tank, move on. They're saying that he's going to come back to 140. Lamont Roach was 130. He's actually a current 130 champion. One of the proper belts. He's got that at 130. He came up to 135 to have this Tank fight. He done well at 135. Now it looks like he might stay at 145. Because Shakur Stevenson's saying, if you don't fight Tank next, you can fight me next. Type stuff. I don't know. What about Lamont Roach's mandatories? Like Jazza Dickens is the interim title holder at the WBA at junior lightweight, so that's who he should be fighting, really. How come none of these guys are pushing to get this Lamont Roach fight? He's up there now at 135 holding this belt that he's got at 130, and all of his mandatories and all of them guys in the top 5 of his weight class, they're just there waiting around for him to make a decision. This is ridiculous stuff. It's ridiculous. Tank has just thrown a big spanner in the works just by not having this rematch. Lamont Roach has got the bee in his bonnet thinking that he's the guy at 130 because he dealt with Tank. It's a madness. For me, it's a madness. I can't see any positive outcome out of this for Lamont Roach. He needs to move on. Tank probably won't retire right now, But he did say he wants to retire earlier on in the year, remember? But with all these different reports, who knows what's going to happen? I don't like to buy into reports. I like to actually see what actually happens. So as of now, we're just going to say that Tank is in recess, assessing his situation, licking his wounds from the fight that he actually knows he lost against Lamont Roach and was lucky to get a draw. Yeah? So, with that being said, let's see what happens going forward with this Lamont Roach and Gervonta Tank Davis situation, and I'll see you guys in the next video.